Mutual funds have become a very important vehicle for investments for retail investors. Mutual funds are the ways or the means by which retail investors are able to access both debt and equity markets today. I think it is important that investors understand why mutual funds are very critical for ensuring that they capture the capital appreciation which comes along with investments in the equity capital markets. Please understand that India is on a growth phase. Uh, Indian GDP is growing at upwards of 8% plus. It is one of the fastest growing economies in the world, and the only way you can participate in this growth is by way of investing in the equity markets. Investing directly in equity markets is becoming very difficult. The markets are becoming increasingly wholesale in nature, and that is why retail investors need to consider mutual funds to invest in the equity markets and participate in the growth. Please understand that increasingly global investors are looking at India. They are looking at India because India is a fascinating destination for them, because it is one of the fastest growing economies in the world. And if that is what is happening, and that is what is being done by global investors, it is important that retail investors also consider Indian capital markets for putting in their financial savings. From that perspective, I think mutual fund is very critical. Over the last 3 years, in the last 4 years, mutual funds have grown on a compounded basis, have shown a growth of over 40% per annum. And I believe that it's just the tip of the iceberg. You are going to see more and more growth by mutual funds. You are going to see mutual funds provide different kinds of asset classes. We are just seeing a launch of commodity funds in the form of gold funds. We are really going to see probably reality funds shortly. So mutual fund is really a collective vehicle of investments. It is managed by professional managers. And in this increasingly complex world, I think mutual funds are ideally should be used by every investor for creating his wealth. We have also seen the markets becoming increasingly volatile in today's world. We have seen global linkages. Some other part of the world has a volatility. You see that volatility getting transferred into domestic capital markets. That is what probably scares a lot of investors, and hence they would rather invest in pure fixed income assets. Today the aspiration levels of everybody is on the rise. For funding that aspiration levels, it is important that he considers investments which can generate higher returns. And higher returns, as you know, will come about by only taking higher risk. And I believe that mutual fund will enable a retail investor to consider allow investments in equity markets, at the same time provide risk mitigation through diversification. This is another interesting thing which we have observed in the mutual fund industry, and which has been aggressively used by the entire industry, is propagating the use of systematic investment plans. I think through the use of systematic investment plans, an investor is actually concentrating only on asset allocation on his financial wealth, and once he is decided on the asset allocation, depending upon his investment horizons that he has, he allocates resources to equity. And allocation of resources to equity can happen through in a very efficient manner through systematic investment plans, whereby a first check is probably given in a particular scheme, and then of all the future money directly gets paid into that or invested in that scheme through debits through his bank accounts. I think there is some degree of discipline which comes by investing, and I believe that investment is all about discipline. It's all about not taking that extra risk. And I think SIP is the way out for retail investors for creating that wealth. As I was mentioning, systematic investment plans is a way whereby an investor actually brings in discipline in his investments. He is actually taking out a fixed sum of money, investing in the market, irrespective of what may be happening in the market. And that is very important. You see, typically we have seen investors getting confused whenever they come across a volatility. And mind you, volatility is something which we can't wish away. It's going to be a probably a monthly or a quarterly phenomenon. In such volatile times, it's important that you keep on investing regularly, and that is what probably SIP will bring about. The other good option which mutual fund industry has been offering is the equity linked savings schemes. I think equity linked savings schemes typically which have a 3-year lock-in for every investment which is being done by an investor provides a significantly higher return vis-a-vis many other diversified portfolios, primarily because there is a lock-in, you don't see exits happening, and hence there is no volatility as far as the fund is concerned. You may be having a market volatility, but you don't have a fund volatility which arises because of investors coming in or going out of the fund. From that perspective, ELSS as a product has caught the fancy of various investors, and I believe that it's in addition to providing you with tax benefits which is on par with any other tax instrument, it provides you with growth which is what is needed for your wealth creation.